page in history when the workers first fought back, and the mine of exploitation at last began to crack. In farm and field and factory, in workshop, mine and mill, a flame was lit, a beacon bright, a flame that's burning still. James Connolly was there, Connolly was there, bold, brave, undaunted, James Connolly was there.
5 years ago, Good Friday 2016, during the centenary of the Easter Rising, we unveiled a life-size bronze statue to James Connolly. We brought him home to West Belfast. The statue was unveiled, the great fanfare, and a packed crowd on the Falls Road outside the Falls Community Council building. We were joined that day by a small delegation of leaders led by Terry O'Sullivan, the great American trade union leader and general president of LIUNA. After we unveiled the statue, we walked a few hundred metres up the Falls Road to the building that I stand in here today, which at that time was derelict, was run down and was unused. And we outlined to that small trade union delegation from the US then that we had a vision to keep James Connolly's legacy alive and well for future generations to be inspired by the great man. We outlined to them then a plan to turn that building into a visitor centre. 3 years later, on Good Friday 2019, over 1,000 people paraded from Conway Mill, a place associated with James Connolly, up the Falls Road to the new RSC Congula, the James Connolly Visitor Centre. And Terry O'Sullivan and John Samuelson and other leaders from across the American trade union movement joined with us local Belfast people and with Uachtaráin na hÉireann, Michael D. Higgins, as we unveiled and opened to the world the James Connolly Visitor Centre.
Tá muidir bís an seo an RSC Congula go dealú Hamish I Congula and seo tíb an mí de RSC Congula ar Bhuachar na Mall. We're delighted here that the iconic statue of James Connolly now stands outside the James Connolly Visitor Centre on the Falls Road. When we're able to welcome visitors back, they'll be greeted by this iconic statue as they come to RSC Congula to see our world-class exhibition.
My friends, on behalf of the 500,000 strong, proud, and united men and women of LIUNA, it is my pleasure and honor to speak to you as we rededicate the statue of one of my personal heroes, the legendary James Connolly. I wish I could join you in person on the Falls today, and I look forward to visiting in the very near future. 5 years ago, I had the honor of speaking at the original dedication ceremony where Harry Connolly talked to me about the plans to build the James Connolly Center. A short 3 years later, I was awed and inspired to see how those plans and ideas had come to life for the people of Ireland. Today, we have come full circle as the statue of James Connolly is relocated to this historic institution that bears his name. His statue and his famous words on the center's south wall will forever remind all who pass by the cause of labor is the cause of Ireland, and the cause of Ireland is the cause of labor. Although in occupying power from across the sea cowardly executed James Connolly, they could not destroy what he stood for: social and economic justice, a strong labor movement, and a free and united Ireland. Connolly's words, deeds, and legacy are as immortal and enduring as the dreams and aspirations of centuries of Irish patriots and working class warriors. LIUNA is a proud supporter of the Connolly Center and its work. Many of our members and leaders are of Irish descent. A large number of Ireland's exiled children in America helped build our union, but most importantly, LIUNA supports the Connolly Center because the struggles of the working class around the world are more interconnected now than they have ever been before. Just as commerce and trade have become multinational, so too have greed, oppression, and exploitation. but my strong, proud, and united Irish brothers and sisters. We know what James Connolly knew when he organized the industrial workers of the world. An injury to one is an injury to all. We will never back down. We will never back up. We will never retreat. And we sure as hell will never surrender in the ongoing battle for workers' rights, civil rights, and human rights. Let's keep fighting. Let's keep organizing. Let's keep standing for justice. And let's honor the life, the legacy, and the memory of James Connolly by demanding a border poll to unify Ireland once and for all, today in our lifetimes. Thank you, brothers and sisters.
Socialism Made Easy, 1909. Let us free Ireland. Never mind such base, carnal thoughts as concern work and wages, healthy homes, or lives unclouded by poverty. Let us free Ireland. The rack-renting landlord, is he not also an Irishman? And wherefore should we hate him? Nay, let us not speak harshly of our brother, yea, even when he raises our rent. Let us free Ireland. The profit-grinding capitalist who robs us of 3/4 of the fruits of our labour, who sucks the very marrow of our bones when we are young and then throws us out in the street like a worn-out tool when we are grown prematurely old in his service. Is he not an Irishman? And mayhap a patriot? And wherefore should we think harshly of him? After Ireland is free, says the patriot who won't touch socialism, we will protect all classes. And if you won't pay your rent, you will be evicted same as now. But the evicting party, under command of the sheriff, will wear green uniforms and the harp without the crown. And the warrant turning you out on the roadside will be stamped with the arms of the Irish Republic. Now, isn't that worth fighting for?
It's hard to believe that just a few years ago there was only one small bronze plaque on the Falls Road to commemorate that great man, James Connolly. I'm delighted to say that we now have a life-size statue of James Connolly outside, more importantly, Áras ó Chonghaile, the James Connolly Visitor Centre. And it's wonderful to think that we went from having a very small commemoration at Glenalina Terrace every year, and then we planned to build the statue, which was located initially at the Falls Community Council, the corner of Beachmount. But now we have this fantastic visitor centre where people can go and learn about not just James Connolly and his ideas, his political philosophy, but also about the working class struggles of Belfast and across the country, and indeed across the world. Connolly was an organiser and an activist in Scotland, in Ireland, and indeed in the US for a number of years before returning home to lead the rise in 1916. So get down to the visitor centre whenever it reopens, have a cup of coffee and learn something about this great man. Bring your children down, bring your friends down, and let's spread the word. Let's introduce Connolly to a new generation of young people in particular. So see ya whenever the place opens again. All the best, folks.
Thanks very much. I'm delighted to be able to convey my best wishes to all those involved in the Connolly initiative. And two things in particular: the removal of the Connolly statue from Falls Community Council to outside the visitor centre brings them at least a bit closer to where he lived on the Falls Road. And of course the Connolly Trail, which is planned for Belfast City Centre in Connolly's message, Connolly's principles in politics are, of course, as relevant today as they were at the beginning of the 20th century. Another aspect of Connolly's politics, of course, is his organising of workers and his socialist outlook. And more than ever, it's important that workers are organised in trade unions and that they increase and express their power through organising within trade unions in order to challenge employers, but especially the powers of big corporations which undermine democracy. And of course, we need to mention Connolly's sectarian principles. Connolly was very conscious of the deep divisions within the working class within the North, and he was very sensitive to ensure that they were not made worse. And that's something that we need to continue to do today. Engage with all people, all working class people within our community, and we need to do that in a sensitive and constructive and comradely way. And a related element, which may not have been quite as big a problem in Connolly's day, but it's a big problem across the globe at the moment, in particular in Ireland, is the whole issue of racism. I think it's essential that we utilise Connolly's humanity and his socialism to challenge racism. We have too many people in Ireland wrapping themselves in green flags and criticising and scapegoating and demonising migrant workers and asylum seekers. I think it's essential from an education point of view that we highlight that James Connolly, the Irish revolutionary, would be opposed to racism, and anybody that claims that attacking migrants and asylum seekers is somehow or other patriotic are completely out of order. There's no place in Ireland, north or south, for right-wing racist organisations or ideas.
I want to congratulate everybody involved in the Áras. Once again, we find ourselves congratulating you on your most recent work, which is the relocating of the statue to my great-grandfather to its new location, its new home at the Áras. James Connolly spent many years of his life on the move, so it's perfectly in order, I suppose, that his statue should do likewise. A moving statue, no less, for West Belfast, a first for West Belfast, an actual moving statue. I think his new location is quite perfect. Standing as it is in front of the Áras, greeting visitors to this centre of excellence and learning in the heart of an area that's directly associated with his life and times and that of his family members. I think it's fair to say that West Belfast molded him or shaped his life as a socialist, as a Republican, and as a militant trade unionist, and likewise his daughters Nora and my great-grandmother Ina, who spent their formative years in politics in the very area you're in today. So the area has a direct association with his life and times, and the Áras, of course, is perfectly suited to reflect those life and times, and that's the great work you're doing. And we find ourselves again thanking you for keeping the flame of memory, his flame of memory, alive in an area that meant so much to him. And I suppose we can say he's taking it step by step and will eventually take over his very family home on the Falls Road. So it's another red letter day for you, I suppose, the move, and it certainly is for us. And all we can say from here is to issue our heartfelt thanks to Harry and to his colleagues and to all behind the project. The success of the Áras has been one of the great successes of our time, and we are still struggling to follow your footsteps in relation to Moore Street. We're still campaigning to save Moore Street while you forge ahead with the promotion of James Connolly's life and times through your work at the Áras. So congratulations to everybody. And I suppose at this time of the year, we should extend Easter Rising greetings to you all.
The Reconquest of Ireland, 1915. None so fitted to break the chains as they who wear them. none so well equipped to decide what is a fetter. In its march towards freedom, the working class of Ireland must cheer on the efforts of those women who, feeling on their souls and bodies the fetters of the ages, have arisen to strike them off, and cheer all the louder if in its hatred of thraldom and passion for freedom, the women's army forges ahead of the militant army of labour.
I'm delighted that James Connolly is getting moved to RSE Conghaile, the Connolly Visitor Centre. As many of us will have seen, James Connolly stood proudly outside the Falls Community Council on the Falls Road. But RSE Conghaile is like no other centre in this island, completely dedicated to the work, the writings, the ethos of politics of James Connolly. So it's completely appropriate and fitting that James Connolly's gone home. So the Connolly Centre has provided us all with a great legacy, and I'm delighted that the James Connolly statue will stand proudly at the RSE Conghaile.
I jumped at the chance to offer Falls Community Council as a host for the statue. And there's a couple of reasons for this. One is that James Connolly lived and worked in West Belfast and worked for people's rights in the area. And that's exactly what community organisations are about now. James Connolly in his time worked to alleviate poverty, to counter discrimination, to promote equality, and as community organisations in this area, that's exactly what we're about. So the two ideals of Connollyism and community activity work hand in hand, and we were very, very pleased in Falls Community Council that James Connolly became a part of our family in a way, and he was iconic in making our building stand out. But it's also very fitting that the statue moved to its natural location outside RSE Conghaile, and we're very, very pleased that it's finally here, that the statue will become an iconic part of RSE Conghaile and will be a beacon of hope for all the people of West Belfast as we all move to achieve what Connolly wanted to achieve, and that is equality for the working class.
I'm delighted to see the relocation of the James Connolly statue at its new home at RSE Conghaile. This spring we'll also be launching our brand new James Connolly Heritage Trail, which will be underpinned by augmented reality, the first of its kind in the city. The last stop on our trail will be RSE Conghaile, where visitors from around the world will be welcomed into the centre by the iconic James Connolly statue.
As the MP for West Belfast and the chairperson of Fáilte Fursa here, I want to congratulate the work here in RSE Conghaile in the Connolly Centre. It's second to none. In the first year it opened, obviously there was many thousands of people who attended the centre and learned the knowledge of James Connolly and trade unions throughout the world. Obviously the second year of the pandemic hit, we're closed now to visitors, but hopefully someday soon that'll be opened, where we will be welcoming thousands of people into this centre again. It's great to see that James Connolly statue has moved to the premises just right outside the Connolly Centre, which I think is a great focal point, and obviously it's a great advertisement also for the work that's ongoing within the Connolly Centre. So big times ahead. We look forward to being reopened. Again, it's a big, massive well done to all of the staff of the Connolly Centre who have worked tremendously hard, not only prior to the pandemic, but also during the pandemic, where they went virtual, and tens of thousands of people have watched events that have been taking place within the Connolly Centre and all the programmes that has been put on within the centre. So it's a big well done, and we look forward to welcoming people from all around the world when the pandemic is over.
We had to close, unfortunately, in March of last year, and in the last year, while we can't welcome you to the James Connolly Visitor Centre, we've instead brought James Connolly to the world, virtually of course, through our innovative and dynamic virtual programmes. So this year, Good Friday 2021, 2 years after the opening of the James Connolly Visitor Centre and 5 years after we first unveiled the statue, we have relocated the James Connolly statue to the front of RSE Conghaile to greet visitors as they come here to learn and be inspired about James Connolly. So this Good Friday 2021, we are proud and honoured to rededicate the statue of James Connolly.
So sinna cardja, tá far é hín James Connolly ar Irish and naga len a chean teach and counter ní féimiis. The next time you come along here to visit us in our award-winning centre at RSE Connolly, the statue is there. Get your photograph taken with it. Get it out across the world. Get it out to all of those who have been influenced, who look up to and who still aspire to the politics of the great James Connolly. Gurmagh.
There is a page in history when the workers first fought back, and the mine of exploitation at last began to crack. In farm and field and factory, in workshop, mine and mill, a flame was lit, a beacon bright, a flame that's burning still. James Connolly was there, Connolly was there, bold, brave, undaunted, James Connolly was there.
The bosses tried to sweat the lads away on Glasgow's high, until a voice like thunder soon stopped them in their stride. And Liverpool and Belfast, the workers lived in hell, until at last they organised and anyone can tell.
James Connolly was there, Connolly was there, bold, brave, undaunted, James Connolly was there.
Murphy and his Dublin millionaires tried bribery and corruption, hypocrisy and fear to break the transport union. The scabs they did enlist, till all their graft was shattered by a scarlet iron fist.
James Connolly was there, Connolly was there, bold, brave, undaunted, James Connolly was there. James Connolly will be there, Connolly will be there, bold, brave, undaunted, James Connolly will be there. James Connolly will be there, Connolly will be there, bold, brave, undaunted, James Connolly will be there.